Good day, everyone. Today, I'll be sharing with you teaching practices in developing research capability on a digital platform. The objectives of this session is to define what technology-mediated research mentoring is and to identify the technology-mediated teaching practices in developing research capability. The mentorship needed to acquire research knowledge and skills requires one-on-one interaction that puts the digital form or technology mediation of learning in question. Can teaching research on an online platform or an technology-mediated education build research capability? According to Musambayev, and his co-authors in 2022, the integration of digital tools and platforms, along with the creation of multimedia learning content and the introduction of research methods and structured research practice into the students' education, allows for an effective research learning practice. These authors did a study with undergraduate students. What I did was to do an autoethnographic study of 5 of my courses at the UP Open University, 2 masteral courses, and 2 doctoral courses to look into this integration of technology in teaching research capability. Both the studies on the undergraduate and the graduate courses provided a granular illustration of the interaction in the Moodle platform, contributing to the development of research capability of students taking online research courses. And if I may say, both speak of the quality of Moodle, the platform that UP Open University is using, as a digital education platform and its capacity to participate in the building of research capability online. It is a non-human agent that makes a difference in teaching and learning research. Let me share with you a framework that you can use to ensure that research activities in the digital environment contribute to learning research. In this framework, you can find 6 elements: quality of the digital education platform, structured research practice embedded in the course, active learning, pedagogical excellence, or I would like to use the word approach, effective communication, and personalization. In the quality of the digital education platform, it speaks about or it focuses on the capacities of digital educational tools and platforms. So when you teach research, it is important to understand if or evaluate if the platform is able to provide the research mentoring required for students to acquire research knowledge and skills. In the second element, structured research practice embedded in the training course, this involves step-by-step implementation of the learning activity with clear guidance and instruction. For active learning, it refers to the authors use the word transfer, but in my case is in mentoring the theoretical knowledge into practical skills and results. On the pedagogical approach, there should be effective learning methodologies and techniques suitable in a technology-mediated teaching and learning. And in the 5th element, effective communication, of course, education is a communication phenomenon, and therefore there should be this element of social presence and cooperation between the teacher and the student. And in the last element, on personalization, this refers to the personal objectives and plans for research and activities in the course. Let me now show you my teaching practices to develop research capabilities in and through Moodle using that framework. I rearrange the sequence of that framework for clearer understanding or clearer sharing of these practices. So if I begin with the pedagogical approach, the practice that I do in building research capability in my courses is the provision of overview. As you can see in this particular slide in one of my courses on research and distance education, everything here is explained, all parameters for learning, the course goals, the module objectives, the activities, and the assessment, because there are two important components of teaching, and that is the activities that would help develop students, the concepts and skills that they have to learn, and assessment is whether they have accomplished the learning objectives through those activities. Next, under the pedagogical approach, in addition to provision of overview, I also have planned or designed or prepare planned structured interaction. And there are three activities that I make use. First is familiarization with the learning materials in the schedule that you are seeing. You can see there that there's a particular schedule when the student gets familiar with the learning materials. Then another activity is the fora. I engage a lot of hand-holding during the fora. And then the final requirement that the student can also see that all of this are available, are part of the interaction between the teacher and the student, or part of the mentoring process, that they are guided in the preparation of their final requirement. In the next element of online learning, based on the framework and the presence of the platform, there is a pronounced voice. I make this practice of making the student realize that it is me that is speaking, because the Moodle that we're using, mainly it is asynchronous. It's not real time. So that is a threaded discussion. So in that threaded discussion, you can see that even if it's not my face, they know it is me, because my posts are all color coded. No, only me can use a color code in my post. So I make use of blue. That is, they know already that if it's a blue post, it comes from me. So, and then I would have a prescribed format in the interaction. Here, I would ask the student to keep their own individual threads. If a student posts on their classmates' thread, I would require the student to please to keep our workspace tidy. Please repost to your own thread. So I would have this prescribed format. Your thread is in that thread, it's only you and me who are speaking or engaging in a conversation. And then next is personalization. If you recall the framework, personalization is on the apex. In my practice, personalization is third in the sequence. I have two practices, the personal context. So what I do is for the student to be able to reflect on their past experience doing research. So their prior and present experience at work in is part of the learning activity. So I would have share with the class a previous course, a previous research that you did, and tell me and share with us what is the research question. So it's a personalization of the context because they are not looking at someone else's research. It's their own research that they are sharing. And it is a guide for me, if I may say, where at what level of knowledge, as the level of knowledge of the student, if I ask that question, what was the research question in your particular study? If the student is not able to glean or even to show the research, then I know that the student has a very shallow understanding of the research process. So, but that is still part of personalization. You get to know the students. If I may share with you that I'm teaching as I said earlier, I am teaching 5 research courses, and each research course would have an average of 30 students, and then if I have 5, so I would have 150. So it would be very difficult to remember and to get to know them. So that's what I do. That personalization is in mentioning their name, for instance. That is a good start, Grace. So I would say that. So that the student, in the mediated context, the students don't see me and I don't see them, but through the mediation of the text on the platform, the student and I would have this feeling that we are on the same, we are communicating. There's a person behind the text that is communicating. So that's what I do. And in the example in my uh, courses that you are seeing now, you can see all of this all of this personalization practices that I do. The other personalization practice that I do is the professional development as orientation. I would always ask the student to relate the activities in the course according to their planned thesis or their planned dissertation. As context for both the activities and the assessment. For instance, I would say in a particular activity of reviewing the literature on the topic that they would like to study, um, for them to develop that skill, knowledge and skill of reviewing what has been done on their particular topic. I would always say that review of literature should always be in the context of what they want to do in their planned thesis or dissertation. So in the Moodle, and now you are seeing as an example of how I do it in my particular courses. So here, let me share now with you. So those are the activities, as I said. And so let me share with you the assessment. So even the assessment is available in the course site. Here you see the rubric is already identified for course go 1. So what is the rubric? For instance, the student did not demonstrate the ability to read and review research literature in their particular topic. So for course goal 2, the student or the student on the other extreme, that is when the student did not demonstrate. But on the other extreme, you will see that the student demonstrated they demonstrated superior ability to read and review particular literature. So in the course side, the student has already a holistic idea of how the courses will happen, will unfold, because the research learning activities are already available from the beginning, from the very first window, And then they can see in what way they will be assessed at the last window of the course guide. So you will also find it there. Next, on the uh, yeah. So here, if I may share with you the summary of these practices in building research capability in terms of the elements of online learning, on the pedagogical approach, on the presence at the platform, and on personalization, you will see here that at the undergrad, it would be basically be the same step for the pedagogical approach, step-by-step implementation of the learning activity with clear guidance, instruction for the graduate courses that I studied using the autoethnographic approach. You see the provision of overview where all parameters for learning and activities and assessment are already available in the educational platform. This is available at the window page. The plant structured interaction, you can see also that under the pedagogical approach, part of the step-by-step implementation or an equivalent practice for the graduate courses is a plant structured interaction, including familiarization with the learning materials, uh, the fora that we have to engage in as teacher and student, and the final requirement. And they are also available at the window page because they are uploaded in advance. In the presence at the platform, in the undergrad, it pertains to communication and cooperation. In the graduate course, in the practice, in my graduate courses, it's the pronounced voice. If I may add, the reason why I do that, I cannot, I should assume that the students have the capacity to learn, but I cannot assume that the students have the prior knowledge on research. So that's why if other students would say or participate in that discussion, then I am not very sure whether the student is pertaining to the research process or a journalistic way of arriving at a particular news. So that's why pronounced voice is very important for me. Posting in color fonts, and then the prescribed format also. I have, as I said, keeping an individual threads because I want the student to pay attention to what I am saying. Uh, my assumption is if the students know research already, then they can contribute. I would know by the way we interact. But for them to, that's why the collaborative learning happens here, not in them talking, but in them uh, observing my interaction with my students, with individual students. That's the purpose of keeping individual threads. It's my own way. Usually, collaborative learning is assumed to be students interacting with one another. In my case, it's different. It is the students watching, observing, my conversation, my interaction with their fellow students. In the future, just recently, I attended the World Immersive Learning Lab Symposium because I would like to explore the use of the educational metaverse as part of this collaborative learning. So that may be another session. And then personalization. So for the undergraduate, their personal objectives and plans for research activities in the course, and transfer of theoretical knowledge into practical and skills. In my case, in my practice, I would always use the personal context, their prior and present experience at work, working, or when I say at work, doing research, and then their professional development as orientation. Why are they there? Why are they taking their doctoral degree? Why are they taking their masteral degree? It has to be part of, that should be the orientation in developing research capability. Their plant thesis or dissertation as context for both the activities and the assessment. So you may be asking, so has happened to, what must have happened to my courses? So I am very pleased to say that in the slide that you are seeing, there's a 100% if we use the completion of the course as a gauge, whether they have developed the research capability, because always they have to submit a mini study. There's one course that all of the students were able to complete a mini study, and that's 100% completion. So it's between 80 to 100% completion of the courses, of these 5 courses that I am handling. So in that regard, I can make that conclusion that with teaching, learning, mentoring practices in technology mediated education, it is possible to build research capability online. Thank you.